Day, Guam. Guausi Colleen Nicholas Perez of Joint Region Marianas Public Affairs. And with me, by popular demand, is Mr. Tony Ramirez of Department of Parks and Recreation. So I bet you're wondering where exactly we are. And Mr. Ramirez, can you go ahead and actually introduce us to where we are located at right now?
Yes, this is Guausi Colleen. We are located at the Paseo Stadium, located at the Paseo de Susana, a man-made peninsula. And we're located on the first floor of the stadium, and we occupy one of the rooms here, which we eventually converted into the Guam History and Culture Visitors Center. It is not a museum, it's a visitor center whereby people from Guam, residents and visitors, can come here and learn information about Guam's past, basically through pictorial collection, historic photographs.
So when did it actually get started? Because I don't know about you guys, but this is my first time here, so...
Well, we began this project, or I began this project in the beginning of Chamorro month this year, 2012. And the reason why I began the project is because currently we do not have a Guam museum. So this kind of serves as an interim place for people to learn about Guam.
I'm really excited to get connected back, connected to my history and my people, right? I know you guys are too, so why don't we start here with what you have right in front of us?
Well, as you enter the visitor center, the first exhibit is the Guam flag. And the Guam flag was created in 1917, 95 years ago. So this is the 95th anniversary of the Guam flag. The Guam flag, actually, the design came from a very beautiful photograph, from my understanding, that was taken in 1910. And if you see this beautiful photograph, you have the coconut tree there that predominates the Guam flag. Then you have the canoe that was set in the shoreline, then the home, and then the landscape of the northern cliff lines of Guam. So you take this photograph and you look at the Guam flag today. You have the symbol of the canoe, the symbol of the coconut, and the landscape of the northern cliff lines of Guam. What was added is the shape of the sling stone, the Atupan in Chamorro, to represent the ancient culture, the sling stone that was used by the ancient Chamorros. Now, how did the Guam flag come to be then in 1917? Well, in 1917, a typhoon hit Guam. And in this photograph, it captured the area devastated by that typhoon in 1917. And what remained was the coconut tree. The predominant feature, of course, is the coconut. And in Pacific culture, not only among the Chamorros, the coconut is the tree of life. You can survive with the coconut tree because of its multi-purpose use. You can build your house. You can make milk. You can make oil. You can make liquor. Now that's a predominant feature of the Guam flag. Then you see the canoe. And why was the canoe used in the Guam flag? Well, the canoe, from my understanding, represented the endurance, the fortitude of the ancient people to travel hundreds of miles to reach the island of Guam, the Mariana Islands. And in Chamorro we have the saying, "Imesingon edu atman," only those that endure can move forward. And so it's so symbolic in the Guam flag. Now, if you're looking at the coloration, okay, the red borders of the Guam flag represents the sacrifice, actually blood, from all the different generations that protected this island from all, I guess, intrusion or I guess for whatever reason, but they sacrificed their lives, okay, for this island. Now, the coloration of the light blue, from my understanding, to the dark blue is that man should always be in harmony with nature. So you have all these different symbolisms that were seen into the Guam flag. This is what's going to push us forward into the future too. You need these elements, these cultural values, to move you forward into either a new direction or whatever, but you need these values, and this is what the Guam flag represents deeply, okay, in the culture of the Chamorro people.
I know you have some other displays here as well.
All right. This is a very beautiful collection of photographs. This is the German ship The SMS Cormorant that was scuttled here in Guam in 1917.
It's familiar to me a little
right,
bit.
Yeah,
Just
it's in Apper Harbor.
That's right.
And many of the divers and the way it's promoted in Guam, it's I think from my understanding, the only place where you have two ships from two wars located and sitting side by side, resting side by side. That's the Tokai Maru and the SMS Cormorant. Of course, the SMS Cormorant is 1917, 95 years ago. So this is a remembrance of the ship, the SSF Cormorant. If you know the history of the Cormorant, they were here for 3 years. But it happens that they were going all over the Pacific, and they finally found sanctuary here in Guam for 3 years until war was declared between, or the U.S. and Germany went to war. I caught the tail end of this in the oral history of the elders talking about the Cormorant. You don't hear it too much today, but being that they were here for 3 years, of course the interaction was there between the Chamorro people and the crew members of the Cormorant. Over here, this is a very beautiful rendition. This is a collection now of the Guam Museum. My cousin Tony Ramirez, you have the same name, we do the same thing, loaned this to our exhibit. And this was this another German ship that came here, the Reamer. And they took several photographs of Guam. But these photographs were taken around 1874, that period, over a century ago, more than a century ago.
That's amazing. It's
amazing. And then some of the landscape that were captured by the photograph are really very interesting because they are still with us today. This one particular photograph with the Carolinian and the Spanish, these were men that were brought here, about 400 of them, back in 1874. You see another photograph. Here you see the Spanish fort over Hagåtña. Fort Santa Agda, in our language we say Fort Apugan. Here you see the earliest picture of Hagåtña, 1874. Here's Dr. Van Penen. He was a medical doctor that came to Guam in 1939. Early pre-war Chamorro nurses.
So I want to thank everyone who's been giving us some feedback and comments about our show. Thank you so much. And one of the feedback was that they really loved how you were explaining to them about the different phrases and
right.
the language in our previous session.
Right, yeah.
So I was hoping you can share that again with us,
Okay.
just a few phrases.
Well, let's use one word that is very embedded into Chamorro culture. And we use it all the time because it's so much a part of our culture. And I learned of it since I was very young. So we say the word tsintsuli, all right?
Right.
This is the
Tsintsuli.
giving, tsintsuli.
Right.
Even young people in Guam understand tsintsuli because it's all interwoven into this reciprocation, whether it be the birth or a new member of the family, to the initiation of the family in a specific age. Now we call it confirmation, which in traditional culture was the rite of passage. Then you have the tsintsuli of what do you call that? I'omakamu, the wedding. Then you also have the tsintsuli of ifinatay, when somebody dies. So you have these constant, reciprocation. So all along I was always wondering, well, how did this term tsintsuli come from? Or, I mean, how did it derive to, and the way we practice it today? Well, really, the word is right there. And it really comes from the word, and it's still being said in the phrase tsuli. Now, tsuli in Chamorro means to take. All right, that's the base word. So what happened in the grammatical structure there was it went through all these different infixation. That's the Chamorro grammatical rule of structure. So it became tsinili. It was taken from. Tsinitsili, it was making it an active participle. It is being taken from. Till eventually, tsinitsili just became tsintsuli. Now, that means something is being taken away from you to give. All right. But there's the other part of it, which is the cultural context. And that is where my mother, who's really very fluent in Chamorro, made me understand what Cinsuli really meant. And one like this to me. Understand this. Two people gave. One, Gefsaga, is the rich person. Y otro, the other, Satsaga, the one that was not wealthy. Manay y Gefsaga, the one who's affluent, gave, and the one, ni Satsaga, the one that is not wealthy, also gave. And this is how much they gave. And my mom said to me, and cited an example, a real example between two people that I know very well. They're in my family. One is more affluent, the other one wasn't. And my mom wanted this to me, who truly gave? And I said to my mom, and I really thought about it, and I said, it's the Itatsaga, the one that didn't have much. And then my mom said, well, why did you say that? And I said, because the way I'm seeing it, the one who is Gefsaga gave, and gave much. That's true, gave much. But he gave it because he didn't need it. In Chamorro they say, Manai niyan sublanya. He gave something that he didn't need. He didn't have to sacrifice anything. But the one who didn't have had to give up something that took something away from that person. Siniutni, that's what we're saying, took away. You know, give till it hurts. So that's what Cinsuli means. When you Cinsuli, it's taking away something from you. When you just give because you don't need it, then in the real concept of Chamorro culture, that's really not Cinsuli. But we're just saying Cinsuli today for everything, right?
Everything's Cinsuli.
But it's Cinsuli, yeah. But it has to take something from you in the original meaning. Sinitsili, Tsuli is to take, Tsinili is to be taken from, Sinitsili being taken from, active, until that one, again, concept was deleted and it became Cinsuli.
I have one more phrase to ask you about. So I know there's a song that goes, Puesto dos hasta aquí. Am I saying that right?
Yes, that's correct, yeah.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Well, it comes strictly from, all those words are Spanish loan words in Chamorro, and it's Puesto Dios hasta aquí. Pues means until, adios means farewell, hasta aquí, until later. And in Spanish it would be pronounced basically like this, pues adios hasta que. Now, everybody in Guam uses adios, and they should understand that when you say the word adios, you're using two words, the Spanish atu and Dios, which means God. To God be with you. So it's a very beautiful expression to, you know, when they sing, pues adios hasta aquí, pues adios hasta aquí. Hasta aquí, man, ami, something like that, yeah. Pues adios, hasta aquí, pues adios, hasta aquí, daven ami, adios, something like that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah.
Well, on that note, Pues adios hasta aquí, Guam.